Well, good day everyone, welcome back to Adventure Ryder. Hopefully you can hear me from there. I thought what we do today is I've noticed on a few forums people asking questions about, particularly about the Africatwin, the Honda Africatwin, and whether or not it's a good long distance bike and how does it handle it I'd say on a highway travelling for some distance. So what I thought I'd do today is I've loaded up the bike with all the full hard luggage, because that's what you'd probably have or something similar if you were to go on a long tour. So I thought we'll put all the heavy hard luggage on, we'll take the bike out to a local freeway here which is a 110k zone, and we'll give you a bit of a rundown and you can see how the bike performs both in terms of revs at certain speeds and the wind, etc., and I'll explain that. So a bit about the bike for those who haven't seen previous videos is it's a 2022 Honda Africatwin Adventure Sport. So the Adventure Sport being with the bigger fuel tank, and the only modifications that I've made to this bike really are I put on a Quickshifter, which we'll have a go at that and you can sort of get a sense of how that goes in comparison to just normal shifting. I've also, what else have we done? Tyres, we've got the Motos 50/50 road off-road tyres, so you'll get a sense of how they are. You probably won't hear or feel that obviously, but I can explain that as we're going. What else have we got? Bark busters and there's a few other things. So, but what I do have on here is just the stock windscreen. So I thought, no, we'll have the stock windscreen and I'll give you a rundown and you can actually see how the bike performs at those sorts of speeds. So other than that, without any delay, what we'll do is we'll head off now and I'll see you at the start of the freeway. Cheers.
Sorry, just another thing to note, today the weather, it's not windy, there's if anything a very slight breeze, just to give you an idea, so we won't have any sort of strong crosswinds or anything to contend with. This will just be a pure honest ride into a day that's sunny, bit cool, but certainly no crosswind. Just while we're heading this way to the freeway, I just thought I'd give those of you thinking of buying an Africatwin, how does it handle? Now, like most adventure bikes, it's got really good ground clearance, and you'll probably see, I find, like I said, I've got 50/50 road off-road tyres on, but honestly, they just feel like road tyres to me. In terms of road riding, I don't feel a great deal of difference. A little bit of noise at slower speed, but if you have a look here, I'm just in fourth, just around the corner, the bike handles really well. It's got a really good weight to it. I have said in the past, and I did do a video review on this bike if you want to have a look on the channel, but it was just a stationary review of accessories and what I think of the pros and cons of this bike. One thing I did say is that it does feel a bit top heavy, but more so really only at very slow, very low speeds and off-road at very low speeds. But in terms of riding normally, the weight is actually really good. You know, you just counter steer into the corner. Oh, I better slow down a bit. See, I'm in fourth. I'm doing 100 k's, let's say, just over, and it's just sitting over 4,000 revs. Now the red line's at 8, obviously. Honestly, I don't think I've really ridden this bike over, say, 7,000 revs. But at fourth, you know, I'm in fifth now, and we're doing, you know, sitting on four. You know, this bike doesn't feel like it's working at all at 4,000 revs. And then I drop it down to sixth, and it's not quite even hitting 4,000, and we're doing, you know, 110. And for those looking at this bike, you will know that you can get this in an automatic version, the DCT version, which I haven't ridden. It does get really good reviews, but I've got the manual version with the Quickshifter that I've put on myself, which is pretty much an OEM or Honda Quickshifter, and it's fantastic, and you'll see that shortly. So typical here, corner, you know, just lean in, tip into the apex of the corner. The bike just leans in, there's no, really confident, a lot of confidence. Yes, it's a high bike, but like any bike, I think you get used to it once you start riding it, particularly on the road. Yeah, I find it's just tips in nicely, and it seems to have a lot of leverage. Because it's such a high bike, when you counter steer, you can really sort of lean this in, and I am not the best rider, I'll be the first to admit, I'm not a great rider. But even for me, I find, you know, road riding on this bike, you know, you lean it in, I'm not going hard here, I'm only going easy, and yeah, absolute confidence. Okay, back again. I'm just parked up on the roundabout here, but you can see over in that direction there's the entrance to the freeway heading towards Melbourne. Straight into a 110k zone here. Now, just for those who are looking to look at this bike, we've got a number of different modes. I've got it in tour mode at the moment, which I'll leave it on, but you've also got the option, hang on, sorry, you've got the option of having it in urban. And really all that does is it can dull down the power of the engine braking and traction and gravel, so it's dulling it down, and off-road, etc. So we're going to stay in tour mode. I won't go and explain all the modes. It can be a bit complicated too, this whole cluster panel, which I've mentioned as a bit of a con in the Africatwin review video I did. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to get onto the highway without using the Quickshifter and without pushing it too hard, just to give you an idea of how the bike performs, and then I'll do another run where I use the Quickshifter and give it a, you know, give it more of the beans, just to see how it runs. And I'll also give you a bit of a description on the highway. I'll probably be on the highway for a few k's, about the wind at 110 plus, and also how the bike performs. I'll obviously be in top gear, and then rolling on, overtaking. If we get the opportunity to overtake, you can get a sense of that. All right, so let's get off this roundabout. No one's coming. Beautiful. All right, like I said, we're just going to do it normal. I'll put my visor down, so we're not going to push it too hard at the start. Okay, and as we get on, don't forget I've got the heavy luggage on the back too. And as you can see, no issue in the world. Into fifth, doing 100. Up into sixth, and the bike's sitting below 4,000 revs. Now, that is not a lot of revs for this bike really. What I can basically feel is the bike's just humming along. Now, if it was a cruiser, it'd be like, you know, it's the equivalent of like sitting on 1,800 revs. It's just effortlessly riding along the highway. Now, in terms of wind, still getting no wind above the windscreen. I've got to put my hand up this high to start getting wind, and it's clean. It's going straight over the top of my helmet. I feel like I'm in a really nice bubble here. Absolutely no wind, and I've got a peak on my helmet. I'm getting nothing putting any pressure on my head. I could ride at this speed like this for hours. So is the Africatwin good on a highway? I think it is. Now, in terms of the wind to the side, it is still in between the mirror and the windscreen is where you get the most of it. And it's not down low, it's at about this level here. Now, you can buy wind deflectors that go on there. They're quite expensive if you get the OEM ones, but there are some aftermarket ones on eBay, etc. You look at those, and apparently that deflects that wind around behind the mirror, and then you don't even get it on your shoulder. Hang on, I've just put it back in the wrong user mode, didn't I? Get it back to tour. Yeah, so that's the wind. Absolutely, all I can feel is a bit of wind on my shoulders. Now, this car in front of me, I mean, I know I'm going a little bit over the limit, although with these bikes, as you know, they're actually not, I'm not doing 120, I'm probably doing about 112, 113. I'm in 6th gear, okay? Now, I come up to this car, normally at this speed you'd just sit behind it and wouldn't overtake it because it's, you know, it's sort of doing the speed limit, but for the purpose of overtaking safely, I'm in 6th and I need to get in front of this car. Let's see how we go. And I'm not pushing it. Bike's just doing over 4,000 revs, doing it easy. Now, I'm not doing it, by the way, doing it easy, indicator cross. Again, I'm getting no wind on my visor. The wind is up here. You can see my hand flow back when it's up this far. Anything there? Nothing. Not a scrap. So I've got a beautiful bubble here. I feel like I'm sitting comfortably. I've got good cruise control on this bike, but I sort of only use it if I'm going a long way. The wind here, yes, it's hitting the top now, it's hitting the top of my shoulder. So the quicker you go on this bike, it elevates the wind up a slight bit higher. So if anything, at a higher speed, I'm just sitting back here. I'll open my visor. I'm sitting back here. I'm getting nothing, almost nothing coming into my helmet. And honestly, I could sit on this bike, honestly, for hours. You know, it's so as a highway bike, you're not going to have any issues with it. Okay, here we are back at our roundabout here and our entrance onto the freeway again. This time I just want to, I'll give it a little bit more beans, but I'm going to use the Quickshifter, and hopefully you can hear the difference. Look, it's obviously, you know, most of us can shift pretty quickly, but it is great to have a Quickshifter. So I'll wait till these cars up here go through. The other thing I really do like about this bike is it has a stock exhaust, but as far as stock exhausts go for adventure bikes, I reckon it's one of the better sounding. I don't know if you can probably hear it here. And it's got a bit of a crackle too. I mean, when you sort of down, change, etc. So here we go. Off this roundabout. Now what I'll do is I'll start from second, and when I get around I'll start giving it some beans. Right, now this is the Quickshifter. Now that is really smooth. All I've done is basically just tapped on the gear lever up. It's a really good Quickshifter, and I've had them on other bikes, and I reckon this is probably one of the better ones. And like I said, I'll throw a link in the description, and I might even throw a picture on the screen now as to where I got this particular Quickshifter from. You know, and even downshifting, no clutch, not using the clutch. Right, here we go, up from 5th to 6th. Drop it back down to 5th, 4th, jump up into 5th, and the 6th. It's you know, a lot of people say with Quickshifters, oh, you've got to be under load and power to use it. No, this one I find you can just be at normal speed and just use a Quickshifter. There's no need to be accelerating or decelerating to go down or up. So it's pretty good. Yeah, so that's, I hope you're getting a little bit of value out of this particular video. And like I said, it's just because I've seen in some of the forums people asking about windscreens and what's good for a highway, and is the Africatwin, you know, good for touring, or is it just an urban and an off-road bike? I'd say it's all of the above. Like I said, the beauty was earlier today I'm riding in a forest on a trail and track, and get out onto the road, have a coffee, then now I'm on the highway, and I'm just, like I said, take it easy. I'll show you the cruise control. I don't use it very much, but you push that button in there and then just hang on, push a button in and then hit set. And there you go. So just push the button in, set, and you can obviously increase it, flick it up and it'll slightly increase it, down it'll decrease. So there you go. Sit here, you can give your right hand, your clutch hand, or sorry, your brake hand just a bit of a rest, which you'll really want if you're doing long distance on a freeway. So yeah, cruise control faultless. It doesn't jerk or stop or, you know, slow down on a hill and then wait for it to kick into a higher gear. It's very consistent. Yeah, so a real must if you are looking at touring. Now that's another thing. I think the Africatwin Adventure Sport, this model comes with cruise control. I'm not sure whether the standard Africatwin comes with cruise control. I don't think it does, but don't count me on that. The other thing too is, I'll just increase it a bit here. The other thing too is, I think I said to you before, my eye line's at level with the top. It's actually not true. My eye line is actually above the windscreen. probably by a good 5 centimetres or an inch when I'm sitting up properly. And that probably demonstrates even more the fact that, you know, like I said, I'm 6 foot and the taller riders could ride this bike and you're going to get bugger all wind. Like even here, like I said, nothing. Oh, I can start to feel it about that high, just a little bit of a light wind. Oh yeah, I can feel it right up there. Anything there, that's where I can feel it really strong. Nothing. And that's a good, probably 10 centimetres above the top of that windscreen. You're in a bubble. So there you go. That was just a quick demonstration of the Africatwin. I'll take the cruise off. And what it feels like to ride on a highway. So anyway, thank you to those who've watched this video. I hope you got something out of it. Happy to answer any questions you might have if you want to throw a comment in, or if you've got a similar bike and you don't find it's like this, it's different, or whatever the case is, or you're taller or shorter. Certainly if you're shorter on this bike, you're going to have absolutely no issue with wind. That side wind might sort of get you a bit lower on the shoulder if you're shorter, and if you're higher, I mean, like I'm right up and I'm still not getting much wind on the helmet, again because I'm going quicker. So the quicker you go, obviously with most screens, the wind just flicks up and over. So yeah. So anyway, I'll let you go. I'm waffling on now. To everyone who supports the channel and watches videos, thank you very much. If you like the video, please click like, and be really grateful if you can subscribe. Doesn't cost anything. But otherwise, from me, an adventure rider, thanks for tuning in, and like always, please ride safely and take care up there. Goodbye everyone. Cheers.